Hometown Tattoo is out in Chicago, Illinois, visiting the Chicago Tattoo Arts Convention that is put on by Villain Arts owner Troy Timpel. Amanda was insanely busy assisting Troy at the convention all weekend, so I was forced to run a comb through my beard and talk to some of these amazing artists myself.
How long have you been tattooing?
This year, 13 years.
Roughly about 3 years.
I've been tattooing about 11 years, going on 12 now.
I've been tattooing for about 9 years.
It'll be about 6 years this August.
5 years.
What was the hardest part of transitioning from drawing on paper or other types of art to?
I think the fear of, can I actually make a living off of this? As much as, like, you know, I was still fresh, so it was like, I get that it's a job, but is this something that I can do and like be fulfilled with? You know, it's still that unnerving aspect of I don't really know how it feels yet. So that was kind of the scariest part, is like, is this something I can do? Is this something I'm going to want to do? You know, obviously it worked out really well, but it was just kind of the fear of the unknown, pretty much. So
I think tattooing is like being a carpenter. You know, you read the plans and you measure twice and cut once. You know what I'm saying? Graffiti is forgiving, and you know, artwork is forgiving layers, and you can change it. But you know, tattooing is, like I said, measure twice, cut once. It's not being an artist, it's being a craftsman. You know, it's a different thing completely. The hardest part about that is realizing that, and that comes years into pretending to be a tattooer.
The most difficult part was really just trying to get over the fact that I was going to be working on someone's skin, like switching canvas, you know what I mean? Because I've always drawn and painted, and I've done like many different styles of art, and it was the transition. It was just like the permanence, but I got over that pretty quick, you know what I mean? You get friends, they let you do some stuff, you start to get over that pretty fast, and then once I got past that, that was it, man. The floodgates open, you know, just had fun with it now, really.
I think the most difficult part about being a tattoo artist is because I'm a girl, and there's a lot of different like stereotypes that happen with like a girl tattoo artist. Like a lot of dudes in the industry will like see you as a girl in the industry, and they'll be like, oh yeah, well, I know how you got your apprenticeship, you know, and it's just, it sucks. It feels like you have to prove yourself a lot, but you know, it's still cool.
I would say the most difficult part of learning the tattoo was basically learning to get over the fear to try new things in tattooing, you know, like people would come in and they'd want a tattoo that I felt like I couldn't do, but in reality I probably could, and I would be so nervous that inevitably I was going to mess it up, you know what I mean? But once I got over being nervous and whatnot, everything became, like, you know, a lot smoother, a lot easier, you know. So.
It's, you don't get paid by the hour. You know what I mean? Like, you make your own paycheck, and that's about it. I mean, I bartended. I was a California certified crane operator for a while. So, I mean, I've had good paying jobs. I'd rather tattoo.
Yeah. What would you say your style is best described as? Where would you fall if you had to?
That's
say?
Tough. That's totally tough, because I don't do traditional American tattooing. I don't, you know, specifically, I don't do Asian style stuff. There's a little bit of everything in what I do, you know, but I do follow like traditional American rules, you know, hard lines, black, hard, good solid shading, good solid color, you know, simplicity. But that's the hard part in tattooing, making it look easy.
More of like a really goofy twist on like sort of American traditional. You know, I know that term is thrown around a little too much lately. I know there's lots of traditional artists out there. I wouldn't really consider myself that, but definitely just silly tattoos, plays on words, that sort of thing. So
that's very cool. Now, how do you feel like that? How did that style develop? Was that something that you always liked to draw when you were just drawing? And
not at all. Not at all, actually. It was just like, how can I outdo everyone at the shop? Because I'm still learning this, so I know my tattoos aren't going to be as spectacular. It was more so like, what goofy thing can I do that's going to make everyone laugh? Right. You know, what can I do to set myself apart from everyone else? I'm not going to sit there and try and draw the same thing they do but better. What can I do to make them laugh? and that pretty much kind of stemmed from there. So
Very cool.
I like to really, my thing is to not be like limited to one style. I can pretty much do everything. I try to be as versatile as possible and learn from other people's styles, you know what I mean? Like watch what other people do and try to incorporate like things that I respect and like in other people's artwork into my own. And then I really like to be able to do a flower 7 different ways, you know what I mean? Like if you want a portrait of it, I could do a portrait of it. If you want it like a bright, colorful, black and gray, old school, whatever style, you know what I mean? I can nail that, and that's really what I shoot for. The versatility, you know, I got to make the people happy.
I like neo-traditional, but I kind of pride myself on like being able to do any kind of style. Like, but my favorite is neo-traditional, and yeah, it's fun. It's like taking like old school technique, but changing the theme, kind of, you know. So it's cool.
Well, I like to do. I guess I'd like to describe it as like a traditional outline drawing, like with like new school color. You know what I mean? Like I like everything to have like the bold, crisp lines and stuff. But then at the same time, I do like, you know, a lot of like color fades and, you know, color blends and all that. Whereas like in traditional, it's more black color. You know, like I like to incorporate the two. So
I don't know if you can see, I kind of do a little bit of everything. I like freehand script. I kind of like West Coast style tattoos, but then I also do super traditional stuff, portraits, whatever the client wants, you know, try to make it as the best I can for them.
Now, we haven't gotten out to the West Coast really too much yet. What would you, how would you define like West Coast style? What's something that, what makes that, you know, different from, you know, other styles that you've seen?
That's an awesome question. It's like, I don't know, I guess you'd call it like a traditional, but normally mixed with like sort of like a Latino, maybe a gangster style, you know, like a lot of fine line script, cholo style maybe, that's what you call it. Real smooth black and gray work, like powder washes, stuff like that. I think is how it would be defined.
When you have a client come in, what's the, what would be your home run client? What would be the person that you're hoping is going to walk through that door every day? Like what they're going to come in and ask for?
Someone that actually, I suppose somebody that has seen what I do, likes what I do, likes my style, and, you know, it's kind of like, hey, I want this, I want you to draw it up however you want. There you go. You know, I mean, obviously there's still some kind of give and take. It is their tattoo. I'm not drawing something up specifically for what I want to do, but, you know, it is a little bit fun when you get to kind of do something that's a little bit more up your alley, as opposed to, I want this exactly verbatim, as opposed to, hey, here you go, kind of go to town with it. So
right.
I guess just being a little more stoked on it. Obviously I'm stoked on any tattoo, but having a little bit more of my flair into it, being able to add my personality, definitely makes me even a little bit more excited. So
cool.
Bring me reference. I think cats right now are a little bit more hip than they used to be. They know what they're looking for more so. Even if it is direct reference off somebody else's tattoo, I'll still change it. But I need to see what direction you're trying to go into. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, bring me some reference. I'm cool with that.
Awesome.
You know, and I definitely change it. I draw every tattoo I do.
Put your own spin on
unless
something.
you tell me I need this verbatim.
I really enjoy doing large pieces, but more so than anything, something original, like something that they really have like some sort of connection to. And I don't like it when somebody comes in with just a full finished piece of art and says, I want this, I like this. That's not really what I'm shooting for. I want them to come in and say, I want whatever, this kind of flower, I like this, I like Asian style, and just kind of let me run with it from there. You know what I mean? Some like where you steer me in a direction and then let me go. Because, you know what I mean, that's my job, is to come up with the artwork. So I really enjoyed trying to get the artwork together for them and trying to like see what they like, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of like it when someone has like an idea of what they want. It's cool if they have like a reference and stuff, but like I've been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil, so like I like to draw it for them. You know, I collaborate with them, but ideally I like to have some direction, but kind of free reign too, you know, but yeah. I don't just be like, well, this is what I drew, so you're getting it, but but yeah, it's cool for them to have like a good idea, but then willing to be like flexible and stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
A lot of times I like for them to have like not necessarily like an exact visual reference, but like a couple photos where they can show me like, hey, you know, I like this from this tattoo and this from this, you know, piece of art and this and that. And then like, you know, I'll be like, okay, cool. And where do you want it on your body? And we'll talk about that and make a little sketch or whatever, and then I get into like a more detailed drawing of it, you know. So.
Right. Do you remember the first tattoo that you did?
Yeah, actually, the first tattoo I ever did was a crescent moon with a skull in it and a bunch of like black like smoke around it. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Either or, man. I mean, if I draw something up and we're totally jive and like that's exactly what they want, that's awesome. If they bring something in, that helps too, though. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people just don't see eye to eye artistically. So either way works great. I like any tattoo that looks good.
Where would you say you find most of your inspiration for, you know, your tattoos?
Jokes, I suppose. Anything that doesn't really have to do with art, honestly. I try to stay away from art, other people's tattoos, anything like more so life experiences, bad inside jokes, anything like that. Things that I kind of laugh at because it makes me think like, hey, maybe other people laugh at that. So, you know, that's usually what I more so look at is just other stuff outside of the actual norm. So
normally, I mean, like I really just Google all my references, like just the real images of whatever it is. If it's like a tiger, I look at real pictures of real tigers and just kind of go from there. And then I just look right at the picture and draw. I sit there in front of a screen, an iPad or whatever I'm using at the time, usually my phone when I'm on the road, and just try to basically run off of that. Try to get an idea what the person likes, what style they're looking for, and then just find my reference and go from there. Build a strong, solid tattoo.
Well, I mean, I kind of like witchcrafty, like devil worshipping kind of looking stuff, and like old like antiques are really cool.
Mostly, I like to read graphic novels, and a lot of times, like I'll be flipping through there and I'll see something that like kind of like sparks my interest, or I mean, as nerdy as it sounds, like video games and stuff. You know what I mean? Also, you know, just like, you know, old school tattoo designs, you know, you see something that you like and, you know, you can just kind of like pretty much like rip it off but redo it in your own style, you know, like a lot of people do that with like Sailor Jerry stuff and all that, so.
I don't know, man, a little bit of everything. I read a lot, I look at a lot of tattoos online whenever I'm not actually tattooing. Pretty much anything. I mean, like the antique doorknobs in my house that I draw inspiration from, you know, I mean, pretty much anything. Anything looks good.
Why'd you get into tattooing?
Well, tattooing found me.
Tattooing found you?
Yeah, I was, you know, always been an artist, graphic designer and stuff and graffiti stuff years and years ago in school. And one of my guys had been tattooing for a couple of years and hanging out. And one day I, you know, said hello. I've been tattooing ever since. Seriously, it found me. I never pursued. I was lucky enough for it to show itself to me, and I took it.
Right.
You know, I haven't looked back yet.
It was never really anything I thought I'd honestly get into. I just kind of hung out at the shop that I work at now. Got a lot of tattoos. Never really put the two together, and something just kind of clicked one day where it's like, oh, hey, this would kind of be a cool thing to sort of pursue. And, you know, just kind of kept hanging out, and the opportunity sort of presented itself. So.
I really just enjoyed doing art, and it would seem just like a logical step. I actually started piercing before I started tattooing because it was the only way I could get my foot in the door. And then I would sit there and draw with the other apprentices, the tattooing apprentices, and I was just as good, if not better, than them. So they were like, well, you might as well learn to tattoo because you apparently can do it.
I'm not really sure. Like, I try and think about like if there was like people that I knew that had tattoos and stuff, but there's no one around that had tattoos. It's just, I think it was kind of like I knew from like an early age that I could look as weird as I wanted to and make money doing art like from tattooing. And as soon as I did like my first tattoo, I was like, all right, that's it.
Well, I had a job like, you know, working at a shop when I was in high school, just like cleaning up and all that. And through being friends with the guys that worked there and getting tattooed and everything, I just really developed an interest for it, and I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship, and I did it, you know.
I was always an artist, and then my brother-in-law started tattooing about 10 years ago, and I used to just help him out with stencils, and I was just like, man, you know, like this is something that I could do, you know what I mean? I'd really enjoy doing something like that, so just kind of it took me to move to Wisconsin to get into it, but I really enjoy it.
Hometown Tattoo would love to thank all of the artists that sat down with us, as well as Troy Timpel and Villain Arts for letting us be a part of the convention. Be sure to check out some of the other conventions Villain Arts hosts across the country, including Philadelphia, Baltimore, Minneapolis, Louisville, and obviously the beautiful city of Chicago.